Hey guys, we are checking out Dune 3 by Synapse Audio. I promise you're going to love this one. Let's get started. So let's go and just get to know the user interface real quick and then dive into the details. So first of all, on the top left, we have the oscillator section. Then we have the mixer, and you can see that we have oscillator 1 and 2. And by the way, they are identical, but we also have oscillator 3/noise section. And in the mixer, you can see also that we can ring modulate oscillator 1 and 2, and also introduce the noise section right here. Now, then we're going into the filters, which is I think the power, the heart of this synthesizer. We have two filters, which you can route in different ways. And by the way, these filters include also effect section and some other features. Then we have the Unison Voices, we have the envelopes, and on the bottom here, we have the keyboard, we have effect sections, we have LFOs, MSEG functions we can use for modulations, and much more. In the center, we have the display where you can find in the main tab, you'll see the information about the loaded patch. Then we have some settings. We have the modulation matrix. We have two arpeggiators. And on the top, we have the preset browser. And we have sound banks, and we also have patch, which you can use this menu to just initialize everything, or maybe save or load presets. So I'm going to go and run the init preset, which obviously will be a sawtooth. Now we're going to do something with this. So first of all, let's go back to the oscillators. I'm going to break it down again. And what we have is three types of oscillators. We have VA, which is virtual analog. We have wavetables, and we have FM synthesis. And you can select one of those for oscillator 1 and 2. Oscillator 3 also have a section for the noise. So I'm going to go back to oscillator 1. And I'm going to show you something super cool. So on the top here, we have density, which means that we adding more and more oscillators. I'm going to go with 5, and you can see them right here. And then what I can do is tune them. So as I go and detune them, they will sound more apart and detuned. But I can also spread them in the stereo field. Of course, I also have the semi and fine tuning here. But what I want to show you is that when you click this tuning drop down, you get all kinds of options. And for example, we can use this minor option, which means that all these oscillators will fold into a minor scale. Or maybe we can use the major. And so on. Now, what I can do at the moment to make this sound a little bit more fun, I'm going to adjust the release on the envelope. I'm going to add reverb and maybe delay, and then we'll see how it goes. So first of all, release. Right, and next we want to have a little bit of reverb. So I'm going into our fixed bus 1. I'm going into the reverb, turn it on right here. And then this drop down will give us a few options for the spaces. I'm going to go with something super interesting, the Shimmer Hall. Have a listen to that. This already so much fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and use the filters to get things even more exciting. And as you can see here, we have this drop down with a lot of choices. And I'm going with something steep, like 24 dB per octave. And let's play with that manually. We can add a little bit of resonance. And there's also key tracking and drive, which I'm not going to use right now. But what I can also do is click this drop down here for the effects. And you can see there's a lot of choices. And I want to show you something fun right away. I'm going to go with the valve. But I want to control this with the mod wheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here and modulate with the mod wheel. And so now I'm going to also set the amount to 100% and see what happens. This is really a lot of fun. So I'm going to try some more effects. Let's see what we get with the phaser. Right, let's add the delay. And let's try some other effects. For example, we can go with this formant. Very gentle. We also have Beat Crusher. Now, what we can do is also add Oscillator 2 to the game. So I'm going into Oscillator 2 and I'm going to try something else. I'm going to go with the wavetable and select something interesting from here. And we can see this position just changing and going through the different wave shapes that are included in the wavetable. But we don't hear anything, and that is because we need to introduce the oscillator. I'm going to just level them together. But again, nothing happens because we also need to add the oscillators here. So I'm going to go and add like 5. And now you get it, right? So whenever we're adding the oscillators, we need to set the density. It needs to be more than 0. And we can set the amount, which will be the volume of those. And we also have the tuning. Don't forget about that one. And we can set this again to minor. Now let's move to the next section, which is the Unison Voices. So we actually have more sounds that we can stack one on top of the other. So not only that we have the number of oscillators right here, we can also add voices. So I'm going to add 4 voices and we can spread them across the stereo field. And if you want to edit those and have different settings for each of the voice, you can do this right from here, from command/voice edit. So this is really powerful. For example, let me show you something. I'm going to go with voice number 1 and change the cutoff to somewhere in the middle. And now go into voice number 2 and you'll see that it's still set to the original setting, and this is because you can edit each one separately, which is mind-blowing. And so that is great. At this point, let's stop and just check some of the presets and appreciate what we can get with Dune 3. So to see all the presets that we have included, I'm going to go into Browse. And here you have the sound banks on the left. And if you purchase more sound banks, you'll see them right here. Now, I want to stop here just for a second. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video where you can buy Dune 3 directly from me, from my shop. I'm a reseller. And if you're buying this through my link, you are practically supporting this channel, which will make me super happy. And so that's it. Now let's move on, and you can see the categories. So we have arpeggiators, we have basses, chords, and you name it. And what I love here is these sequences. So let me show you some sequences which are super cool. Let's try some of the arps, and I'm going to show you how to use the arpeggiator in a moment. And I love the chords. They are so thick. Let me show you some. And we can actually try that with the drums. Now, the gated presets are actually pretty awesome. Let me give you some examples. So now let's cover a couple of things, the arpeggiators and the modulations. So first of all, the arpeggiators are assigned with the different voices. So you can see right here that we have ARP1, ARP2, and for each voice, you can decide if it actually using the arpeggiator and which one. And you can see here the pattern, and you have the number of steps right here. You can just click and drag up and down. We have sync, we have the rate. So there are a couple of ways for you to modulate any of the things, any of the parameters that you see in the synthesizer. First, we have a right-click option, and you can do this really easy. Right-click on whatever, for example, the cutoff, and then modulate with. And for example, I can use the LFO right here, and I'm going to set the starting point. And once I do this, by the way, you'll see the first line right here. And there's the amount, how much of the LFO will affect the cutoff. It's just 10 out of 100, and I can just go all the way. And now let's have a listen. So now let's see what exactly is LFO1. I'm going into the LFO section, and we have 3 of them. And you can see that we have a rate, 1 Hertz. I can just click here to sync and poly this. And now I can also set the amount from here. Now let me show you another way to modulate, and that will be with MSEG. So this is like creating some kind of a function which you can apply to anything. So for example, what we can go and start with presets, and we have all kinds of pre-made presets. And now what we can do is right click, go to modulate with, and select the MSEG 1, for example. And again, I can go into the preset, select something else. And you can see that the filter cutoff is modulated right as the function goes. And of course, you can just change the length or the rate. You can do this slower or maybe All right, so that was Dune 3 by Synapse Audio. I really hope you enjoy this one. I love this synthesizer. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? And of course, in conclusion, this is really a very useful synthesizer. First, we have so many voices we can stack one on top of the other. We have amazing filters with a built-in effect sections. We have all the effects we want. We have modulations. I don't know what's not to love. And I'll see you guys in the next videos. Thanks and bye-bye.